Tonight on Caviar News, voters heading to the polls. A look at the most important measures on the ballot.
Your mobile phones and other electronic devices should be turned off.
Why passengers will soon no longer be hearing that announcement.
And a museum facing extinction, find out why this on-campus favorite could be forced to close.
You're watching KVR News, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening, you're watching KVR News from Monday, November 4th. I'm Luqman Adeniyi.
And I'm Nita Mandar. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Central Texas continues to recover from devastating flash flooding, and more heavy rain is possible later this week. Mayor Lee Leffingwell has declared a local state of disaster for Austin after the floods destroyed homes and killed at least 5 people. After the local state of emergency has been ratified by the city council, that disaster dedication will be effective for this week. Leffingwell has also sent a letter to Governor Rick Perry explaining the need for additional state and federal support. Take a look at this aerial footage taken by the LCRA rivers and creeks throughout the area. They're swelled after as much as 14 inches of rain in parts of central Texas.
Some low water crossings in the area remain closed at this time, including Burleson Road near Highway 133. The floodwaters there caused the asphalt to buckle in some places. It could take several days to repair the road. The American Red Cross of Central Texas is helping families displaced by the floods. To make an online donation, you can go to redcross.org. You can also donate by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS or texting the word Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation. A group of Austin area churches known as the Austin Disaster Relief Network gave away $21,000 in gift cards to families struggling to get back on their feet. The ADRN believes at least 300 families affected by the flood will need long-term assistance. They're currently working with the Christian Compassion Center to accept donations that will be given to the flood victims. More heavy rainfall is heading for Central Texas. Chelsey Pena will have your forecast later in the broadcast.
Tomorrow is Election Day in Texas. Just a reminder, don't forget your voter ID when you hit the polls. Because of the Texas voter ID law, many voters have found the information on their photo ID does not match the information on their registration cards. People can still vote if the election judge at the polls decides the information is substantially similar. Well, here's a list of the valid forms of photo ID. They include a driver's license, a personal identification card, and a U.S. passport. Texas voters will decide on Prop 6, which would create a state water implementation fund that would help the Texas Water and Development Board to implement a statewide water plan. Here in Austin, voters will cast their ballots on the City of Austin Affordable Housing Bond that would allocate $65 million to fund affordable rental house development and home ownership programs. Some of the funding will also go toward home modifications for senior citizens and people with disabilities.
Developing news out of the Northeast tonight, Central Connecticut State University was put on lockdown today after reports that a man with a gun and a sword was seen on campus. He's now been identified as 21-year-old student David Kiem. He was charged with breach of the peace and released after posting a $1,000 bond. Kiem was taken into custody along with 2 other people of interest following a 3-hour police search on campus. Kiem is the son of geography professor on the CCSU campus. He said his son was wearing a Halloween costume and was not in possession of any weapons. Officials are working to get operations back to normal at Los Angeles International Airport after a gunman opened fire inside a terminal last week. Paul Ciancia is in custody after allegedly shooting his way past a security checkpoint. TSA agent Gerardo Hernandez was killed, and at least 4 other people were wounded. TSA Administrator John Pistole said the shooting has prompted a review of security protocol with partner agencies. And another airport scare, this time at Birmingham, Alabama's Shuttlesworth International Airport. A bomb threat forced the evacuation of thousands of passengers there for more than 2 hours. Nothing was found after sniffer dogs and officials did a full sweep of the airport.
Your mobile phones and other electronic devices should be turned off.
Flyers will soon no longer hear that announcement before takeoff. The change comes after the Federal Aviation Administration announced it will remove the ban on the use of electronics on board flights. Those devices can currently only be used while the plane is at cruising altitude. Delta and JetBlue are among the first airlines expected to roll out the new changes. Other airlines are expected to follow in the coming months.
Construction and administration plans for UT's new medical school are being finalized. An open forum was held on campus last Tuesday to discuss the plans. Members on the panel include representatives from UT, Seton Healthcare Family, and Travis County's Central Health. Construction is slated to begin in 2014 in the location of the Frank Irwin Center. The new location of the Irwin Center is yet to be determined despite unbroken ground for the building. The plans for staff, usages, and layouts are already decided.
We're finishing up programming at this point. We know what needs to happen in each building and how much space is needed for each function. We know who will be in the buildings and what they need for success. That includes the number of square feet, the services, the equipment, the technology, and many other aspects of the area.
The panelists unanimously agreed that with the med school, the value and quality of healthcare in the area will be boosted.
We really do have to change the model of healthcare, starting in Central Texas. Whether they figure it out nationally is a whole other question, but we think we can start change right here, which is to create a healthcare system that's not about getting people in a hospital and taking care of them. It's about keeping people at home, keeping them in the right place to take care of them, and using a hospital when necessary.
The med school is scheduled to open in 2016 with a class of 50 students. Former Dr. Conrad Murray, convicted in the death of Michael Jackson, has filed a petition here in Travis County to reinstate his medical license. Murray was released from jail just 1 week ago. He's now looking to continue his medical career in Texas, California, and Nevada. The cardiologist served 2 years of a 4-year sentence for the involuntary manslaughter of Michael Jackson. Murray says his practice is the only source of income, and losing his license would completely cause him irreparable harm.
An exciting new grant for one campus museum while another may be forced to close.
And UT students are working with NASA to find out how. Come back to Caviar News.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. About 10,000 Austin Energy customers were plunged into darkness Friday night. A substation malfunctioned just after 9 p.m., causing a blackout in parts of East Austin along Cesar Chavez, east of I-35, and south towards Altorf. The outage affected several flood victims, forcing many to evacuate a southeast Austin shelter and move to another. The power was eventually restored about 2 hours later. The cause is still under investigation. And from darkness to the Festival of Lights, the Hindu Students Association hosted the Diwali celebration on the main mall last night. Diwali is a religious and cultural Hindu celebration. The festival included performances, a priest, and a grand finale, complete with fireworks. Junior Jasmine Singh reflects on her Diwali experience.
So I think it's really amazing that UT allows HSA to host an event like this at our university. It really enhances the fact that UT believes in diversity.
Downtown Austin will play host to the 8th annual Fun Fest this weekend. Among the artists in this year's lineup are MIA, Snoop Dogg, and MGMT. For updates on the festival throughout the weekend, you can follow Good Morning Texas on Twitter at GoodMorningTX. This week marks the first Texas Together week put on by student government. Texas Together is an organization that aims to connect and combine different types of students on campus to create a more diverse student body. This week's events include a diversity showcase, a panel of professors and student government members, a speaker series, and a performance by singer John Legend.
seeing a campus that is united and conversing with people that are different than one another, I think that that's something that's certainly beneficial for the university in multiple ways.
UT's Blanton Museum of Art has been awarded a $500,000 grant by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation for a new curator fellowship program. The grant gives art history PhD candidates the opportunity to study with objects from Blanton's core collection. The goal of Mellon Fellowships is to give doctoral students professional training and practical experience in museum operations.
Something unique will be the pairing of the classroom experience here at UT with actual museum experience alongside our curators here at the Blanton.
Students will be competing for 3 available spots on the year-long curator program. As Blanton receives the grant, another on-campus museum is facing major budget cuts. The Texas Memorial Museum is home to fossilized dinosaur tracks and bones, but it may too be on its way to extinction. Budget cuts are forcing the College of Natural Sciences to cut all $600,000 of its funding toward the museum. The museum will attempt to survive on 25% of its funding, likely forcing it to cut its staff down to just 3 people. The museum will also no longer be able to host field trips or weekend events. Director of the Texas Natural Science Center, Edward Theriot, says he's currently talking to stakeholders to raise as much funding as possible, and he hopes the museum will eventually be operated like a private museum.
UT's Department of Theater and Dance is under fire for looking to hire up to 9 guest artists for the upcoming musical, In the Heights. The musical relies heavily on Latino and African American actors. The faculty said there were not enough students of those descents that could sing, dance, and act, so they looked into hiring outside actors. Students voiced their unhappiness at the casting decision at an open forum last week. The department has now decided to redo auditions and cast more actors from within the Fine Arts College. In the Heights is set to debut in April. One UT professor is giving new meaning to the term autopilot. Aerospace engineering professor Dr. Marudi Akala and his students are working on an effort to send unnamed aerial vehicles to the Arctic to collect research for NASA.
Being able to build it and execute it and someone is using it, I think it means everything. And more than me, I mean, it's for the students, it's an outstanding experience for them.
The project is currently partnered with NASA's IceBridge program, the largest airborne survey of Earth's polar ice. Graduate student Mickey Snook is one of the main leaders in the effort.
UT is a university that is held in very high regard in the field of engineering, and I think all our students should be proud.
Central Texas is still dealing with the aftermath of flash flooding, and even more rain is in the forecast. I'm Chelsey Pena, and I'll be right back with your weather.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Chelsey Pena. Last week, we saw record-breaking rainfall in the Austin area. We do have a couple more days with potentially heavy rainfall, but I do have some good news. By Thursday, you'll be able to say goodbye to all the mud you've been tracking into your home from the rain. We can look forward to sunny skies with a taste of fall weather that is plenty satisfying as we move quickly towards the approaching holiday season. Today we saw overcast skies and a high of 67. Don't expect those clear skies to continue as there is a 70% chance of precipitation tonight. Tuesday, expect a cloudy day with a 40% chance of showers. If you're planning on being out tomorrow night, pack your sweater and umbrella for a low of 66 and a likely chance of thunderstorms with heavy rainfall. This soggy weather will carry over to Wednesday with temperatures peaking at only 71 degrees, a 70% chance of rain, and the addition of winds with gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Look at Wednesday night, though. We'll see temperatures as low as 46 degrees, which will make for 68-degree high and a 43-degree low for Thursday. Friday will bring sunny skies and a high of 69, the perfect weather to start your weekend. This great weather will stay for the weekend, giving us breezy and sunny days with temps in the mid-70s. Perfect for watch parties as the Horns take on West Virginia. Later that night, put on an extra layer to avoid flu season as we see lows in the 50s. We'll see a beautiful wrap-up for what started off as a dreary week with sunny skies Sunday with the highs in the mid-70s and lows in the mid-50s. Perfect for that jog you've been meaning to get in since the beginning of the year. Live from the Weather Center, Chelsey Pena, KVR News.
All right, thanks, Chelsea. I'm happy we finally get to have some sun later in the week.
Yes, I am tired of all this rain, Luqman.
Well, after the break, the Longhorns are at the top of the Big 12 standings, but are still unranked. Julian and Owens will join us later to tell us about it.
Stay tuned for more KVR News.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Welcome back to KVR News, and I am Julian Owens. Houston Texans head coach Gary Kubiak collapsed on the field Sunday night as he was making his way to the locker room at halftime. The team said Kubiak did not suffer a heart attack, but he was taken to the local hospital where he is in stable condition. Back on the 40 acres, the Longhorns took on the Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday, looking for their 5th straight conference win. Let's head out to DKR for the highlights. You see the whole team getting ready to go straight into the DKR Stadium to play on the Kansas Jayhawks, who is 0-4 in Big 12 play. In the first quarter, first drive for the Longhorns, Case McCoy will throw it to who else? Jackson Shipley, who will go straight into the red zone inside the 10 for who else? Malcolm Brown for the 3rd-yard touchdown, his first first touchdown for the game. Then you see him again, who will get a 3-yard touchdown to make it his 2nd touchdown for the game, and they'll go into halftime leading 14-6. And you see Roy Williams and Quentin Jammer getting together for for the honor for them in halftime. But you see in 3rd quarter, Cedric Reed fumble for the sack, and Chris Whaley will pick up the fumble, high step straight into the end zone, and they'll get another score, a defensive touchdown, 2nd for Chris Whaley, and they'll go 21-6 in the 3rd quarter. You see the defense just going all over him. And then again in the 4th quarter, you see Case McCoy throwing to Marcus Johnson, who will go inside the 20-yard line, and you see just a perfect pass from Case to Marcus Johnson. And yet again, a 3rd touchdown for the one and only Malcolm Brown, which was a 1-yard rush for him, and it'll go up to 28-6 in the 4th quarter. I'm sorry. And then later in the 4th quarter, you see Case accidentally tripping over the handoff, but again, who else better than that? Malcolm Brown getting his career high of 4 rushing touchdowns. Texas would win the game 35-13, 5-0 in Big 12 play.
So after that win on Saturday, the Longhorns are 5-0 in Big 12. Why are they not ranked?
I don't know. That's a very good question, Luqman. I do not understand this. There's a lot of teams that's on the Big 12, in the conference standings that's top 25. Even Baylor, who is 4-0 in Big 12 play, but you have Oklahoma, who is 4-1 in Big 12 play. You have Texas State, who lost another game this past weekend, and you have the Texas Longhorns, who is 5-0, and they're not in the Big 12. The BCS standings, or even recommended to go into the bowl. That's very absurd to me. I think that's a slap in the face. This is the first time in sports history in college football series where a team that's 5-0 in conference play but is not ranked in the BCS standings. So I think it's a very bad rude move for them. I just think that they should be ranked, and we'll see if they are going to be next weekend.
Well, thanks, Julian. Taylor Villarreal joins us next with this week's entertainment news. Taylor, what you got for us?
Kim and Kanye suing a popular website, and a musical about Jesus set to Britney. Stay tuned, you're watching KVR News.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Taylor Villarreal. We told you early in the newscast about last week's shooting at LAX. Mythbusters stars Tori Belici and Grant Imahara were actually inside the terminal at the time of the shooting. Both took to Twitter to live tweet the scary ordeal and snapped photos of the scene as the entire event unfolded. Something crazy is going down at LAX, Tori initially tweeted. People running everywhere. We just got evacuated. Privacy. That's the reason Kanye West and Kim Kardashian are suing YouTube. In a lawsuit filed Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court, the Lovebirds are suing YouTube founder Chad Hurley for releasing highlights from Kanye's proposal back on October 21st. Ironically, it's not like West and Kardashian didn't know cameras were recording every second of the evening, or that they didn't plan to broadcast every second on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But, and this is a big but, they didn't plan on someone else sharing it or making the money off of the footage. West and Kardashian are asking for an unspecified amount of actual and punitive damages. New York City's famous theater district is getting ready for the premiere of a new musical about the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. An interesting twist will be taken on the musical, though. It's set to the music of Britney Spears. The music will be titled Spears, The Gospel According to Britney, and will open this Thursday. Creators hoping to answer the timeless question, is it the greatest story ever told to the greatest music ever written? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. That's all your entertainment news for this week. I'm Taylor Villarreal.
Thanks, Taylor, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Luqman Adeniyi.
And I'm Nita Mandar. For news and weather updates, you can follow us on Twitter at KVR News. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a good night.